May your soul find peace. You muster, watching the demon's head crumble away and the sun start to raise. You defeated 4 demons in just one night. Kayaka packed you food, candy, medicine, and strange things he created. He also gave you a paper and something to write with, since he wanted details on every effect his intentions had. Kasa gave you 2 new horis in case you tore or ripped the hori you were wearing, and a favorite colored hairpin. Next destination. Go to your next destination. Kidzu, your fox, whipped. With sad eyes, you sheathed your sword back in place. Where to now? North, north, Kidzu said and began to run away. Wait up. As trailing as it was, you walked, jogged, and ran to where the fox directed you. You took breaths sometimes, but only small ones. You walked so much that now the sun was setting. I walked nearly an entire day. You breathed out. This is insane. Ian? You smiled and turned around. Tanjiro. You smiled got wider when you saw Tanjiro's sister. And Nezuko too. Tanjiro ran to hugged you, and Nezuko patted your head. They were both really happy to see you. Tanjiro looked around. Where's Kayaka? With our captivator. He is not going to wield a sword nor fight demons until he gets older. You pouted, then glared at Tanjiro. And I'm still bothered by the fact that you encouraged a minor to kill demons. Right. Tanjiro chuckled nervously. He then changed subject. So, you know where you're heading? Not really, you replied. You knew he changed the subject, but decided to go along with it. Asayuke, yip. Kitsun yipped angrily. I told you where to go 3 times already, and you didn't listen? I'm sorry, You stopped walking and gasped slightly. Pardon me, did you say Asasuka? Without a doubt, Kitsu replied. Asayuka in Tokyo? You asked it again. Indeed, Kasa replied again. I apologize, but I'm not going. You shook your head and stopped walking. Both Kitsu and Tanjiro looked at you. Why? The red-haired male asked. You really do ask that, he retorted. I lived in Asayuka. There's where people know me the most, and Mother is hunting me down for sure. So I don't want to go anywhere near that town. Maybe a disguise could work? Tanjiro tried to reason. No can do. You shook your head. I will go to another place. Wait, Yin. Tanjiro tried to stop you, but he simply stood there and watched you leave. He sighed heavily and grabbed Nezuko's hand. Let's go, Nezuko. Tanjiro walked into the city of Asayuka with a sulky air. But this decay state didn't last long when he saw a bright and lively city. There were so many strange and flashy things he never saw before. Yin lived in a place like this? Tanjiro exclaimed inside his head. He decided to go somewhere less crowded inside the city. While walking, he bumped into someone. Guessing by its height, it was a male. Sorry, Tanjiro apologized. No worries. The other male turned around and looked at Tanjiro. The stranger had rainbow eye-like irises and a warm smile. He tilted his head and sweetly smiled. Do you need help with something? No, I'm sorry. Tanjiro grabbed his sister's hand and began to walk away. What a funny boy, the smiling man said to himself. He reminds me of me, somehow. Who it reminds me of? I'll remember later. The further Tanjiro and Nezuko stranded from the city, the less the red-headed felt dizzy. A huge like house building outside the city caught his attention, but its scent, it was all too familiar to Yin's. Did Yin live here? Tanjiro asked himself. Yin Hanao? That's her shrine, a man replied. Tanjiro jolted and looked at the man. It was a bald owner of a small udon shop. Not from here? No, sir. Tanjiro shook his head. I knew it. Everyone here knows her. The man leaned over his counter. You here to court her? No, sir. Only a mission. Tanjiro waved his hands around, blushing. Did Yin get courted by other guys before? It kind of made him sad, but at least none of them managed to do as much as Tanjiro did. Good. Because she isn't home at the moment, the bald man said. Where did she go? Tanjiro asked. Beats me. The man crossed his arms. Kind of worries me, though. Her mother says she was kidnapped, but I don't believe her. Yin always told me how she pursued her life was. Maybe she now is traveling around Japan like she told me. You knew her? The red-eyed boy widened his eyes. The man nodded. She would sneak out of her house and eat udon from a shop, but it's been 7 years now. Tanjiro saw a beautiful china bowl with your favorite colored flowers on the counter. The udon inside the bowl smelled amazing. Made the boy's stomach growl lightly. Tanjiro tilted closer to the bowl. The man hit him on the head with a spoon. Stay away from that bowl, the man fumed. It's for Yin. But hasn't she visited you 7 years ago? Tanjiro hissed in light pain. Why do you still make udon for her? Because I know that someday she'll be back. She wouldn't just leave, the man huffed. 7 years, A female voice called out. The man and Tanjiro looked at their side. It was you. Yin. Tanjiro breathed out. You've been making the same udon every day without fail for 7 years. You spoke softly. The man looked at you in bewilderment. He could recognize that face anywhere. But ran towards you and hugged you tightly. You, of course, hugged back. Where were you? The man asked, letting you go. Nearly everywhere. You smiled at him. I apologize for not telling you. I left in a rush 3 years ago. Now you're here. The bald guide happily handed you your bowl. Let's celebrate. They still taste so good, you hummed happily. Tanjiro smiled at your bright attitude. Of course they would, the bald man smiled proudly. He then looked at Tanjiro with an amused smile. I remember that when she was younger, she used to call me Udon-san. Stop it, please. You pouted with embarrassment. The man and Tanjiro laughed at this. Looks like leaving that place made you lots of good, Udon-san hummed in approval. You became less formal and you're more expressive. I lost my formalities that much? You panicked. The man patted your back and laughed. You're still so worrisome. Tanjiro snapped his head towards the city and began running somewhere. This worried both Udon-san and you. What have you been doing lately? Udon-san asked to lighten the mood. So I decided to visit you. I know how much you love the city and that you would have left, and even less, with such disapproval. You explained. Udon-san listened to every word and was now tearing up. You've grown so much in such a short time. I believe still have many things to learn. You looked at the direction Tanjiro ran away from, and many things to do. Have you two already told each other's feelings or not? Udon-san crossed his arms. He squealed in embarrassment and played with your hair. We already did, but I guess we haven't made our relationship official. He looks like a nice guy, and based on what you told me, he has done so much for you that it's stupid to think that he's just being nice, the bald man said. I want to get this demon slaying thing over with as soon as possible. You looked at your lap. So we can live a happy life peacefully and with no worries of any kind. That could be considering a goal, but how about date him now? Udon-san smiled and you nudged him. Isn't it too soon? You replied. Such an abrupt and rash decision. You already know you like each other, which means your friendship even more awkward. He shook his head. Trust me, all you need is the perfect time, and that's it. The perfect time, you thought. With a small smile, heavy footsteps and pants got your attention. It was Tanjiro. He looked really worn out, and his eyes reflected defeat and despair. What happened? You asked the male in the checkered hori. He was pale and looked and shook lightly. I met Muzan Kibutsuji